Mo said in social media, I'm a funny person, that the speaker is a funny person. I will continue to be funny to make sure that the right thing is done. I am pro-life, and I will continue to be funny to make sure that lives are saved in the world.
So that was just sometime last month when the private members of parliament drafted that bill and submitted to the speaker, including the religious leaders also in that interaction. But let's quickly run through some of the measures or the provisions of this particular bill that is seeking to criminalize activities of LGBTQ plus persons. So it says it constitutes an offense if a person engages in sexual intercourse with another of the same sex, with an animal, or any pansexual activity. It also goes on to say one may not marry or try to marry a person of their same sex or a person who has undergone sex or gender reassignment. So those are some of the provisions of the proposed bill, which is expecting to see parliamentary approval. There are many other considerations and proposals involved in this particular bill. Now, it says it's an offense to be lesbian, gay, transgender, transsexual, queer, pansexual, non-binary, or any ally that's a non-queer person who advocates for the queer community. And one may not provide or participate in surgical procedure for sex, gender reassignment, or any other related procedure. Now it says the use of any form of technology to share material that promotes LGBTQ plus activities is prohibited. Another provision is that engaging in any acts that promotes sympathy for acts against this bill or a change of public opinion on the bill. It also goes ahead to say offering your premises, any other movable or immovable assets or assistance for promoting LGBTQ plus and their activities is prohibited. It goes ahead to say public displays of amorous relations between persons of the same sex, between people that have undergone gender reassignment, is termed as grossly indecent and not permitted. So quickly, those are some of the provisions. It finally says a person will not be permitted to fund or sponsor any activities prohibited under this act. So those are the provisions of this particular bill seeking to criminalize activities of LGBTQ+. We're joined on the line by private legal practitioner Christian Mam Hesse. He will give us an interpretation of exactly what these provisions mean and why flouting these provisions will be a law. Thank you very much for joining me, Lawyer Mam. Now, these provisions seek to criminalize the acts, the sponsors, or the manifestation of any related, LGBTQ+, individuals and activities, etc. From your reading of the bill, are we not doing too much?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Interestingly, perusing through the bill, one thing that pricks my mind is the balance. I'm looking at the legal balance in the bill vis-a-vis the human rights aspect. And I fathomed to say, or shuddered to progress to say that you look at the preceding part or the prelude to the subsequent provisions. It touches on Article 24 as the state being sovereign, so that whatever Parliament is seeking to do should be looked at that. But they venture into other articles of the Constitution to say that this particular bill is majority or mostly premised on Article 39, which is to promote the family unit, and then the socio-cultural values of the people of Ghana. We understand that per Article 11, the laws, we take precedence from customary laws. Now, you peruse through trying to balance the fundamental human rights with respect to Article 17, Article 12, 21, 1A and G. The imbalance is what is problem to me as a legal person. But you realize that from the intents and purposes of the people promoting this particular bill, the whole thing is premised on how to project the socio-cultural views. And you know, the socio-cultural views of people exist within a certain paradigm time. So that if this is what the people of Ghana believe or seek to say that they abhor, then probably that will become the law of the day. But at the end of the day, this is what would interrogate the minds of people for debate and all that.
Now, many people are wondering, the bill that came, to us, more than 36 pages, a lot of, provisions embedded in there. But from your reading of the law, for the lay individuals, people who are not learned in law like yourself, what are their takeaways from this? What are the perfect takeaways from this?
Takeaways. If you look at clause 2, it deals with anything to do with LGBT plus, anything to do with it. It gives a definition of it. Now, it further goes in to talk about any form of sexual relationship, whether in private or exhibited in public, is criminalized. Now, if you also progress to clause 4, it talks about you exhibiting it, where you exhibit it, or anybody, organization, civil organization, society, or persons that seek to sponsor or promote, incite, instigate any form of LGBT activity or its related matters is an offense. And if it happened in your presence that there is an LGBT party or persons who show amorous relationship and that seeks to suggest that they are same sex, you should report to the police. Also, it also voids any form of marriage that same sex persons will seek to do. We saw some of these things happening in some military. I think there was a report of 2 military officers who got themselves in all of it. So it seeks to criminalize all of those things. Now, any form of propaganda, advocacy, and all of this, promotional activities, they are all offenses. And it further goes on to say that persons who are involved in these things, especially victims, would be given support. And anybody who identifies himself as LGBT plus should avail himself for counseling, for physiological therapy, and all of that. So that is where they try to bring in a balance of the two. But still, in the mind of a lawyer, the balance, especially with respect to Article 12, 17, 21, they are not too clear about the fundamental rights of the people, and that is where the worry is.
All right, thank you very much. Christian Mamhese is a private legal practitioner there speaking to us. Joining me also on the other Zoom link is former Amnesty International boss, Robert Akutu-Amoafo. Thank you, Robert. Now, I know when this particular matter came up sometime last month, there was a conversation about how to include persons from the LGBTQ plus community and other rights advocates in conversations and engagements in this particular regard. From your reading of the proposed bill that we have seen, does it come to you as a surprise that we are seeing the content that we have it now?
Thank you very much. No, not a surprise at all. For a Africa regional advocate on such things, I think it's no surprise. Why is it not a surprise? Because this is clearly a project of a group of people who are working not only in Ghana, but in Uganda, Nigeria, and other African countries who, if you look at the bill and you compare it to the bills of Nigeria and Uganda, you see a progression of how they define the things. I had a conversation with 2 MPs on your station not long ago, and the things that I mentioned that they have left out and they're not thinking about, you could see all of them reflecting. But as has been said by the lawyer, clearly they didn't think through the implications of what they are putting into this law, which clearly takes away the basic rights of a lot of people, including you, the media, and including a lot of people, and the arbitrariness of the law is quite surprising to me, and how it just takes away the rights of everybody in Ghana. I mean, the idea that if somebody mistakenly says, hey, I'm gay, then the person is supposed to be arrested. The way the law is drafted it looks like it is out of hate. It is just not a project on any evidence or research. If you look at what the preamble or the memo is on, you see all the issues they have raised are not things that are backed properly by empirical evidence and has some foundation that you would say this law is needed in a democratic, civilized society like Ghana.
Would you be surprised if it is passed in this current form? The members go ahead to debate it, make inputs and amendments if there are any, and then it is passed into law?
It would be very sad that they are able to pass such a law that even has simple, basic typographical errors and other things if it is passed. And also the idea that the parliament itself has passed there's a constitution that this law is basically flaunting and going against. And so it will be surprising that it is passed in its current form. Like it basically closes up civil space, silences the media, promotes hate, and clamp down on civil society work, and even the parliament themselves. Now, if you're saying that somebody should not receive funding from a donor for LGBT work, the question is the government entitled to also take funding from the same source for other projects for itself? So these are the questions that they are supposed to, and as I mentioned at the last discussion, I don't think there has been any proper engagement with key people who would draw their attention to some of these things. And as has been said already, we are seeing all these gaps that we are raising.
Thank you very much, Robert Akoto-Amoafo, his former Amnesty International boss there, speaking to us on this particular matter. And as you would imagine, this has generated a lot of conversation on social media. Many of you have been, reacting to this in portions of a bill on Facebook and on Twitter as well. You have all been reacting. I'll quickly run through some of the messages that have been coming through on our social media platforms. And we will also be joined in a short time by One Love the Kubolo, who will give us his perspective on this. So as you can see, these are some tweets. This one says, God bless Sam George for championing the will of God and some sensible Ghanaians. This is also another one, a lion in this jungle. Here is, he's roaring and you people don't like it. Why? You want him to crow? Dude is a lion, he can't chicken out. Jata cement your fights, okay? Whatever. That's General Lord the Poet. That's his comments there on Twitter. Now, this one from Neutral Mary tweets at mbanks133. It says, good move by Sam George. Parliament should pass the bill. Let our donors deny us aid. Then, boom, Nanado's Ghana Beyond Aid will be achieved. A very simple way of achieving our target since independence. So that's at Banks133. They're speaking to us. Just to watch Middaylive here on TV3. We're back with more after this.
Zoom right here in my house. Hey,
look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
it was mistake. I no check.
Acrobat, I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistakes. Stop.
You did the right thing.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint me champion.
Sale, you're gonna direct. Now what's this saying? With Dewa NLA 539 Direct, you only have to select up to 5 numbers from 1 to 39. To play, dial *446# across all mobile networks and select option 1. With a minimum of 2 Ghana cedis, you can bet on Direct 1. Match the first number and win 20 times your stake. Direct 2. Match 2 numbers and win 45 times your stake. Direct 3. Match 3 numbers and win 400 times your stake. Direct 4. Match 4 and win 5,000 times your stake. Direct 5. Match all 5 numbers to win 50,000 times your stake. The more you play, the more you win. Look out for the draw results on TV3 News at 7 p.m. Win easy, win every day with Dewa NLA 539 Direct. Afa, winning no, it choke.
Have you ever thought of how persons with mental health conditions fare with sexual and reproductive health rights issues? Amidst all that we are going through, there is the ever hovering matter of sexual and reproductive health concerns, especially of adolescent girls and women, to be mindful of. We all have a role to play in addressing the sexual and reproductive health concerns of persons affected by mental health in Ghana. As Christians, we have an obligation. It is not a choice for us to support the mental health disabled in our midst in gaining access to sexual reproductive health rights and issues. The Lord be with all of us.
This message is brought to you by Basic Needs Ghana and funded by Amplify Chain.
Dad, I think Mom knows more about things than you do. Oh, yes, and she knows more about nutrients.
What are you trying to say?
Yes, Mommy loves me better than you do.
What's in the Abanikano?
What's it then? Mom, I was only telling him Momo milk is the ideal for a complete and balanced diet. It is loaded with nutrients. It has a good source of essential minerals, vitamins, and rich in calcium. It has given me stronger bones and teeth.
So they also get stronger bones and teeth.
Momo milk, enriched instant milk powder. For bulk purchase, contact 059 691 3366. This advert is FDA approved.
Concerned about your family's safety at your home or business? Worry no more. Get more. For any window or door, get more. For unique custom-made solutions, get more. Call Trelidor 0561 24 24 24. Trelidor, Africa's strongest burglar proofing.
The journey to find out one queen continues. Last week, our contestants put up splendid performances.
Freedom! Freedom at last! So it's the wake of a new dawn. People of Ahafo are not just courageous, so we are hard working.
This week, the battle gets keener as our ladies have been tasked to identify a cultural practice that they would like to modernize in their region.
You can identify queen mothers by how they wear their dowry.
Catch Ghana's Most Beautiful 2021 live from TV3 Studio B this Sunday at 8 p.m. Studio audience is strictly by invitation. And remember to vote for your favorite contestant by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and follow the prompt to vote. GMB 2021, rediscovering true beauty.
GMB 2021 shows Sundays at
8 p.m.
and repeats Fridays at 3 p.m. and is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casaprecum, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles, Lufat, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel,
Geisha, Close Up,
and supported by
Thank you for staying with us. Now, Ghana's total confirmed COVID-19 cases have crossed the 100,000 mark as 276 new cases have been recorded. The death toll from the virus has also shot up to 819. And so this is the latest coming from the Ghana Health Service, 276 new cases, 3,560 active cases in all, 819 deaths. And so you have there total confirmed cases since COVID broke out in Ghana, 100,250. Out of that number, 95,871 have been discharged and have also recovered from the disease. Joining me via Zoom now is Seth Ajiman. He is a Deputy Chief Biomedical Scientist at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital. He's going to give us a lot more insight into this. Thank you very much for joining me here on Middaylive. Does it mean that, as the situation being painted is, if a relative of mine, touch wood, critically falls ill from COVID, he may not get an ICU bed to be admitted on? I think you have to unmute so we could hear you.
Sorry. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your viewers. It's a privilege to be on this big platform. As you rightly said, our COVID-19 cases, we've hit 100,000. If you go back to 2020, we had our peak somewhere in April, and we started coming down, so we slept. Then we had another peak after the December celebrations. Then we went to sleep. Unfortunately, we get another peak in July. So it looks like it's cyclical, sleep, wake up, sleep, wake up. The numbers have increased, even though it's not as worse as before. But what makes it more worse is that now we have a lot of variants. And these variants have shown higher pathogenicity in terms of transmission rates and the ability of previous immune response to the previous strain against this new strain. This has led to rising cases of severe and critical cases. So even though the numbers are not alarming, yet the number of patients who are requiring critical management in terms of ICU management is increasing. And if you look at just Greater Accra region, through the work of Ghana Service and the National Case Management Team, led by Dr. Feribodi and Dr. Samba, Lee Samba, and Dr. All of them Akaba. There are a lot of hospitals in Accra that have ICU capability, but mainly the GIDC center. But UGMs also had ICU capacity, during the high peak, but currently they are not doing COVID ICU. So we have the capacity in terms of human resource and infrastructure. Maybe the capacity for other resource mobilization that we need, because before we hit this peak in July from June, it was only the GIDC that was receiving patients. And if my memory serves me right, if you go to the Ghana Service website, June, GIDC received just about 8 severe and critical cases. July, the first 2 days, they received about 12 cases. So it means that we are getting people more sick than before.
Okay.
So we have the capacity.
Okay. I think one of the officials of the management team had hinted to us that there probably would be a need at some point for the other facilities, perhaps private individuals, to also avail their ICU facilities to be able to admit some of the cases when they shoot up. Yes.
So if you look at last year, almost all the hospitals mobilized their teams, and most of us were at Ghana East. So we had a lot of human resource, but after the cases started going down, most of the specialists and health workers moved back to their routine working areas. So that is why the leader of the ICU critical cases, Dr. Piso, thinks that all the ICUs in Greater Accra must open their doors, because looking at the trend, whilst we don't see a downward trend and we are seeing an upward trend, it's better prepared for this upward trend, because already workers are tired. Trust me. Almost all of them are tired. Everybody is tired. When you look at their faces, everybody is tired. And when you are tired, trust me, you are going to make mistakes. Even though we are trying to break our back, we have limited time to sleep, have long time to spend in traffic, long distance to cover to our workplaces and to reach patients. And let me also hint here, one of the dangers I'm seeing with these severe critical cases is that most of the testing that are done now, about 90-95% of people who are being tested are people who want to travel.
Okay.
So these are not clinical cases. People who want to travel or people who are entering into the country from other countries.
Okay.
So you can imagine that if we start seeing a lot of people falling sick and going to our routine hospitals who have already laid down their heights and preventive measures that we used to have, where in every hospital entrance they are checking your temperature, they are enforcing to wash your hands and to wear your mask.
Okay.
And it's very shameful that today people still think that the COVID doesn't exist and it's just a joke.
I'm sure subsequently we'll have a lot more conversation around this, especially heading into the weekend where a lot of activities are expected to happen. Funerals, parties, and other pubs are also going to be operating. The caution is that you adhere to the protocols, especially in the face of a new variant of COVID, which has been found to be deadlier and more clinical when it comes to attacking its victims. Now, away from that, the founder of the Tamils Institute, Koku Anyidoho, has urged the incoming Inspector General of Police, Dr. Ekufu Dampare, to ensure he carries out his mandates without fear or favor. According to him, politicians are likely to interfere with the work of a new IGP, but he must ensure he does not bow to their pressure.
When President Mills was vice president, he was the AD camp to the then Vice President Mills. And I'm sure such positions don't come easy. You have to be of a certain pedigree. I've spoken to men and women in uniform who don't seem to have a problem. They believe that he will come with whatever God has given him to come with. This whole governance process, especially sometimes with the police, it's a lot of firefighting. The problem begins before you get to know. How you confront, how you manage it is where the steely nature of your being, comes to the fore. And so it will come with its own challenges. But if you look at the fact that he's held very high command positions over the period, I'm sure he's seen it all. What has he got to lose? Take the tough decisions, take the bull by the horn. And with the kind of system we're having now, if he's doing the right thing, for which reason politicians get angry with him, the nation will know anyway. So for me, he should just do the right thing, and that's it.
Time now for MTN Video Report.
This is community library. It is abandoned in about a year now. There are no openings. Even the community library is no more functioning. So that is from Saboba. The people of Saboba are appealing with the government of Ghana to come to their aid. The MP of Saboba and the DC, they are appealing to them that and MTN people, Ghana, the people of Saboba is appealing to you to come to their aid. The community library is standing about not even a 1 year. It's not in use.
You're still watching Middaylive here on TV3. After the break, we'll have a conversation around witchcraft allegations and accusations, marking 1 year since the gruesome killing of Ikea Dente, 90-year-old in Kafaba, accused of witchcraft. Please stay with us.
Wish you well on your new job and place. Be fine.
Hello, Grandpa.
My grandson, I learned you are leaving your father's hacienda to go and increase your standard of living to an astronomical quotient. Just go Why? This is my pneumatological aberration from the Abinkunabolis to the eschatological divinity. I bought you these from the Makers Electronics Company Limited.
My son, when you receive your first salary, make sure so the Makers Electronics Company Limited.
The Makers up to 67% discount for the Makers Electronics Company Limited this year. 055-2222-253. The Makers Electronics Company Limited. Large and in charge with quality but affordable home appliances and consumer electronics.
Impressor oil na capsules kura ahwadi nura eboa eyi yawa enam sasabro usisi wachiri bremo ne afi waposo nyina free ni padua no mu. Impressor capsules kura ahwodi a etumi boa esiesie no mpa eho akokwa nia entokrontokro de demo ene afi waposo gregira awewe no nyina esiesie no ema no ahwodi foforo kura wope edura obetumi de wo ho atoso na ayi wo honam ya wo nyina ade a any impressor ne edura wona owo yefunu yade mpo etumi no mbie se onom impressor capsules now the impressor oil twitwibia eye wo ya no a ene wato adi ya wo bedwane entem so kra ope impressor capsule ne oil ibia to a ko pharmacy licensed chemical shop ana herbal shop a ebe wo atufom frɛ Ayona Pharmacy Limited 0553 134 185 ana 0243 123 224. Impressor Yao Big Johnny. This advert is FDA approved.
Sale, you're gonna direct. Now, what's this saying? With Dewa NLA 539 Direct, you only have to select up to 5 numbers from 1 to 39. To play, dial *446# across all mobile networks and select option 1. With a minimum of 2 Ghana cedis, you can bet on Direct 1. Match the first number and win 20 times your stake. Direct 2, match 2 numbers and win 45 times your stake. Direct 3, match 3 numbers and win 400 times your stake. Direct 4, match 4 and win 5,000 times your stake. Direct 5, match all 5 numbers to win 50,000 times your stake. The more you play, the more you win. Look out for the draw results on TV3 News at 7 p.m. Win easy, win every day with Dewa NLA 539 Direct. Afa, winning no, it choke.
As a new mom, there are moments of pride, joy, and doubt. Yes, doubt. Has he slept enough? Does she have everything she needs? Does she have all the nutrition she deserves? Each bowl of Cerelac contains goodness that helps your child blossom. That's one less thing to worry about. Cerelac, it's all good, Mom. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Turn it up, turn it up.
Louder. Focosi! Hey!
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Jackson. Someone who made me love rap. Let's give it up for Amrado.
I can't sing like Kwame Eugene, but at least I can be a key.
Mami freestyle. Music, one shot. Are you having fun? No, you are having an AC.
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
From working with FMCG companies from across the world to being a trilingual Ghanaian who's traveled the continent to giving us an insight as to how she's been able to relate to her children.
Remember, you're not teaching that child to be artificial and connect to the world they see on the internet. You're teaching them to be authentic. This is what will make that child bring value to the perspective of everything they do.
We also get to learn about the different types of orchids. There's over 20,000 types of orchids in existence.
Okay.
How do you know this is a phalaenopsis?
It's by the leaves, the shape of the leaves, the breadth, the color, and the flowers.
Okay, I learned, and I'm about to learn, that this is called the spike, and this type of orchid is called phalaenopsis. You don't want to miss this episode right here on TV3 on Today's Woman.
Today's Woman shows Sundays at 3 p.m. and repeat Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Executive Director of Esane Institute, Professor John Azuma, is advocating criminalizing witchcraft accusations as a way of deterring persons from attacking and lynching innocent citizens. Currently, there are at least 500 women in witch camps across the regions of the north, prompting a call for action amidst concerns of inhumane treatment of these individuals. Joining me in the studio is Professor John Azuma. Thank you for joining me. I know you've been doing a lot of work in this space, especially the research that has precipitated in the forum, which we're having 3FM in collaboration with your institute. Tell us about the key findings.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. And we did the research after the lynching of our mother, Ekoya Dente, last year. Everything went quiet after a few weeks, and we decided that we were not going to keep quiet. So we went on the ground, we did some research, and we did find some startling revelations. First of all the witch camps are all in the northern region, the former northern region, which means that it's now in the two of the northern and the northeastern regions. That is where all the witch camps are. We visited all these places. We spoke to the victims. We spoke to the traditional priests. And the witch camps are all around shrines, where the sacrifices are performed, which in legal language is called trial by ordeal. And it's going on in these shrines. And we've also found that there were about 539 victims who are accused. 95, 96% are all women. There are a few men, and the men, when they are accused, they come with their families, but the women are not allowed to come with their families. They come alone. Sometimes they get a grandchild to come and stay with them to help them. We also found out that most of the victims in the camps, in the 5 camps, are from 2 ethnic groups, predominantly from 2 ethnic groups. About 53% are from the Konkomba ethnic group, and about 41% are from the Dagomba ethnic group. So that if you look at that 2 ethnic groups, about 95% of the victims come from these ethnic groups. It doesn't mean that the other ethnic group, there are no accusations. There's a lot of accusations in the other places, just that the victims don't get to go to the camps and to stay there. The other finding that we also saw was that that was also very startling, is that nothing has changed on the ground since the last time.
So what kind of recommendations, for example, and the call for action now, what kind of action do you expect to see?
One of the key actions we are calling for is passing of a legislation that will criminalize witchcraft accusation. We are not pretending that the legislation will be a magic bullet to solve the problem once and for all. But it will give the police, the security forces, the legal system some kind of tools to work with. And when people are made examples of, 3, 4 people are arrested and prosecuted, the accusations will go down. The accusations are so arbitrary. They are so dangerous. When somebody is accused, even when they are not beaten or lynched, the stigma they live with for the rest of their lives. And their livelihoods are destroyed. So we are calling for legislation. Other jurisdictions have passed legislations. In Europe, they had witchcraft hunting for about 300 years. They passed legislation about 18th century, and today you can't accuse anybody of being a witch in Europe. We have to do the same and not wait for another Equia to happen before we take action.
Thank you very much. Professor John Azuma is the Executive Director of Esana Institute. They, in partnership with 3FM, organized that particular forum to mark 1 year since the gruesome killing of 90-year-old Equia in Kafaba. And sadly, not much has happened since then. In the coming days, we'll be engaging and interrogating the duty bearers to ask them the critical questions about what happens to justice to be delivered to Equia and her family. This is still Middaylive here on TV3. We have business after this. In business, the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mreku Duka, has said small-scale miners who have requisite licenses can now go on to mine. He was quick to add that government remains committed to chasing out illegal miners from destroying forests and water bodies. He made the statement when he met members of the Ghana National Small-Scale Miners Association in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi.
Place ban on illegal mining, and even the act itself placed a ban on illegal mining. In actual fact, naturally there was a ban because of the act, that anything that involves illegality is not tolerated as far as our act is concerned, or our constitution is even concerned. So generally we've motivated them to go and do the right thing by making sure that they follow all best practices. Very, very important and very, very key. Now, if you have a concession, and if I say you have a concession, I mean licensed concession, that concession, your license must be displayed. There must be a signpost that will display your license, one. You must have an office. You must have a first aid center. And you must follow all protocols as far as mining is concerned. So it is not a blanket kind of statement to go and do it haphazardly.
Let's have a conversation now with the president of the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association, Michael Kwejo-Pepra, on this latest development. Michael is going to join us later. Once he joins us, we'll have a conversation on this. Now, the National Insurance Commission has urged owners of garages, including local fitting shops, to their premises are insured. Commissioner of Insurance, Dr. Justice Yaofori, advised vehicle owners to ensure that garages and fitting shops they patronize were insured to cover their cars should there be an accident. He emphasized the Insurance Act 2021 Act 1061 spells out insurance for commercial places, including auto mechanic shops.
Needs insurance to cover his liability. That is how it is. The fitters also need to have insurance. So you take your vehicle to the shop, you don't have insurance on the vehicle, and something happens to it. What would you say? So we also have to insist that the garages, they need to have insurance. There are so many sections. There's coverage for the building itself, and then they also add the content. They also have liability or third party. So they have a third party insurance to protect them against people like me and you.
That'll be all for business. Sports with Thierry Nyan is right up next. Please stay with us.
Now to the sports details with me, Thierry Nyan. And today is the day. The Olympics opening ceremony is finally here after an entire year of waiting. Now, the world's biggest sporting spectacle is back despite the COVID pandemic. Now, the opening ceremony begins today, began today, at sometime around 12 noon. About 11,300 athletes from 207 countries, of course, will be going for gold over the next 2 weeks. But this time, they have added the issue of the extra restrictions like face masks, saliva test, and cardboard beds designed to discourage them from having sex. Now, as you can see on your screens, Ghana, the team from Ghana were clad in a very, very beautiful white outfit, with some, kente fabrics in there. And of course, Nadia Ike, the flag bearer, hoisting the flag very high, waving it and dancing to, the tunes there. And of course, all of this happening at Japan's Tokyo Olympic Stadium. Beautiful colors there. We're bringing you a full story on how the opening ceremonies have gone for Ghana and, of course, how the costumes have been for the contingents that have consistently featured, at the Olympics. But away from there, of course, one of the biggest issues in Ghana football has been the match-fixing scandal that happened over the weekend in a game between Ashanti Gold and Inter Allies. Now, Inter Allies duo Hashmin Musa, defender who scored the 2 own goals, and Dansore Edu Mensah, goalkeeper, who have now been invited to appear before the team investigating the case of betting and alleged match-fixing today at the Ghana Football Association. And joining us on Zoom to give us a clear understanding of the process is Frederick Champong, a member of the Ghana Football Association's Executive Council. Frederick, good afternoon. You're welcome to Middaylive. I think you have muted yourself, so if you can unmute. So great, I can hear you. Great. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
so quickly, I want to find out what the entire process is going to look like now that it seems we have some official proceedings happening.
Well, it's very simple. Betting or match fixing or whatever you want to call it, it's something we do not condone at the basic, even at the basic level of football, let alone at the highest level of football in Ghana. And so what is happening is that goals were scored, which seems suspicious, and so the Ghana Football Association would then have to take up steps to investigate the sporting aspect of it. The other aspect of it, who goes beyond the sporting aspect, will be handled by the criminal investigation department of the Ghana Police, of which the Ghana Football Association would hold meetings with and then give them in terms of the expectation what the GFA expects. But the processes that has begun is to investigate the sporting aspect of it. Yeah. The sporting integrity of the players and then the 2 clubs that were involved in that game.
Okay, but now that we have 2 players, and of course these are very, very instrumental figures in this particular scandal, the man who scored the own goals, the one who allowed it to even go in the first place. Where exactly will it go on from here? Because then, are we expecting more individuals to be nabbed and investigated?
Well, what I know is that the Ghana Football Association has placed everybody whose name appeared on the team sheets of that particular match under investigation. And so who were named on the team sheet for the game under investigation. So Sandy Gold and Interlies, anybody whose name is on the team sheet of the would definitely be invited, or one way or the other. It depends on the level of the investigation they want to do and the information they will get up to a certain level. That will determine